Learning styles. Session aim and learning outcomes. First of all, the aim to discuss and consider learning styles. Learning outcomes. Upon completion of this session, learners will be able to or be aware of the importance of acknowledging learning styles. As teachers, we must understand that each and every learner is different, and they subsequently learn in different ways. The differing and preferred ways that students learn are called learning styles. Why is it important that we know our own learning style, do you think? Well, it's to meet our own learning needs and to progress with our own development. Equally important that as a teacher we understand that each and every student is different and will have their own unique learning style. We must be aware of this in order to deliver effective sessions to them. What is a learning style? It's a method of learning that students particularly favour, which allows them, first of all, to digest, understand and progress with their own learning. If the delivery does not meet the students' learning styles, then it will be counterproductive and learning will be affected. VAK stands for Visual, Auditory and Kinesthetic Learning Styles. So let's have a look at those. The majority of people can be divided into one of the three preferred styles of learning, either a visual learner, an auditory learner or a kinesthetic learner. Visual. Someone with a visual learning style has a preference for seeing or observe things, including pictures, diagrams, demonstrations, displays, handouts, films, flip charts, etc. These learners will use phrases such as, "Show me," "Let's have a look at that," and will be best able to perform a new task after reading the instructions or watching someone else do it first. These are the learners who will work from lists and written directions and instructions. Where a student's learning experience is enhanced by reading books, looking at pictures, diagrams, handouts and watching film or DVD clips, they will learn a lot more. These learners are better at completing a given task once they have read the instructions first. Auditory. Learners with an auditory learning style prefer to learn through listening to the spoken or recorded word. They also have a tendency to perform a task better after listening to instructions. Learners with an auditory learning style preference tend to be able to complete given tasks after hearing spoken instructions. They tend to be the people who remember the words to songs and the words to spoken lyrics. Kinesthetic. Learners with a kinesthetic learning style have a preference for physical learning experience. It's a practical approach for trainers. A physical learning experience would equate to touching, feeling and doing, i.e. undergoing practical hands-on experience. As individuals, they tend to jump right in and never read the instructions, but would much prefer to try things out themselves. Learning styles as per David Kolb. David Kolb was born in 1939. He's an American educational theorist whose interests and publications focus on experiential learning and help to popularise the idea of experiential learning. Experiential learning is the process of making meaning from direct experience. An example of experiential learning is going to the zoo and learning through observation and interaction with the zoo environment, as opposed to reading about animals from a book. Have a look at these quotations. For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. That was Aristotle, between 384 BC and 322 BC. And, tell me and I will forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I will understand. And that was Confucius, 551 BC to 479 BC. And if you look at those two phrases, they both relate to experiential learning. So experiential learning is not a new thing, it's been around for over 2,500 years. So what David Kolb is trying to explain with experiential learning is his 4 stages, starting with stage 1, concrete experience, or CE, that's feeling, reflective observation, watching, abstract conceptualization, thinking, and active experimentation, doing. So that's the 4 stages in experiential learning, 4 stages of the cycle, the teaching cycle if you like, when you use an experiential learning. And in box form we've got concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. Let's have a look at an example with customer care and reception duties. The concrete experience or do could be the receptionist undertaking duties or observing another receptionist. The reflective observation or review is the evaluation of receptionist duties. Is there room for improvement? The abstract conceptualization model, this is drawing up a checklist for best practice. Takes us on to active experimentation where we test it. We test the checklist. And this is where we simulate reception duties. GE on the left hand side stands for group exercise. And what I normally do now is split my delegates up into groups and ask them a question. This one being, how can we attempt to meet the different learning styles of our group and see what the feedback is. Now I've already mentioned how to split people up into groups. Use your imagination. These are the answers, hopefully, which you should gain from your groups, but in fact you'll probably get a lot more input from the group sessions. We can attempt to meet the different learning styles of a group through using different teaching methods such as discussion groups, individual exercises, group work, question and answers, theory and practical sessions, and perhaps using a variety of resources that cater for maximum inclusion. For example, PowerPoint, video, handouts, flip chart, marker boards and physical resources. So to summarise, we've looked at various learning styles and how acknowledging these are important. And also we've discussed the importance of designing a session in an attempt to meet all learning style requirements. So a question on that previous section. A learning style is a method of learning that students particularly favour, and it allows them to do what? Is it A, digest, B, comply, C, acknowledge, or D, progress with their own learning? Or it could be more than one. So what do you think? And it is two. It's A, digest, and D, progress with their own learning. What does the acronym VAK stand for? Is it A, visual, authentic and crisp? B, visual, authentic and kinesthetic? C, visual, auditory and kinesthetic? Or D, visual, oral and cryptonic? And it's C, visual, auditory and kinesthetic.